What's up, guys, and welcome to GameScript. We're taking a look at Monday Night Football between the Baltimore Ravens and the Detroit Lions, coming off a big 72x hit on Underdog. I created a video about that, put that on the YouTube page. But tonight, I'm going to be focused on trying to do this again with Monday Night Football. I'm going to be joined by Spread Astaire, and I'm going to get into it right after this. What's up, guys? Simon Edwards at Pumacom here with Heat Seeker Sports, and you're watching GameScript. Today, we're looking at Monday Night Football, Week 3, between the Detroit Lions and the Baltimore Ravens. We got a 52.5-point total, with the Baltimore Ravens as 5.5-point favorites in this one. At least that's what I've got. I'm joined today by Spread Astaire. Spread, what's going on, man?
Man, 5.5 for you, huh? I'm seeing 4.5 out offshore with the total of 53. But excited to break this down. Let's see if it lives up to some of the hype, because if it doesn't, there's one team that I think will not keep up.
Interesting. Okay, we got a good tease there from Spread. We're going to dig into this matchup and build some DraftKings Showdown lineups. We'll get into the player pool and all the players that we like while we're building these lineups, and give you the analysis on the overview of the game and build our lineups according to whatever game scripts we think could potentially play out in this high totaled game. And before we do that, make sure to hit the like button. I'm looking for 50 likes to put out my favorite picks in the comments section later on as we get closer to game time. And make sure to subscribe to the channel. I am very close to 1,900 subscribers. I'm about 35 off of that. So if you guys can hit subscribe, it's a huge help. And you want to subscribe anyways to get alerts for whenever this content comes out. Do showdowns for every one of these island games, and we do breakdowns of the entire main slate as we get closer to Sunday. So you're going to want to subscribe to get alerts for that. And you want to subscribe to get the access to the secret weapon that's coming probably in a couple weeks. Working on it right now. The website getting close to finalizing the beta version so we can give you guys access, those of you who have subscribed to the YouTube page. So make sure to subscribe to that. And let's dig into this. Let's dig into this player pool spread. And before we do that, why don't you give me your general thoughts on this matchup and overview of what you think might play out?
Man, I am worried that this is a potential letdown spot for the Detroit Lions, coming off the big win over their former offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson. But another reason that I think this is, number one, I like to fade Detroit when they're outdoors. Now, I don't think it's going to be too cold, but we saw what happened out in Green Bay. Does Baltimore have the same level of defense as Green Bay? No, but they are pretty darn good. And you know what else is pretty darn good? It's just Lamar Jackson record against the NFC. He consistently beats up in these cross-conference games. He's such a tough player to prepare for. And I think that, they looked pretty good shutting down Caleb Johnson and an offensive unit that really can't run the ball and get the tough yards. That team is so designed for explosive plays, not a lot of toughness and grit. Now you get the exact opposite with the Baltimore Ravens, who have that same explosive capability that the Chicago Bears had, but also are the ability to get those gritty yards, and you don't even know where they're coming from. Is it going to be Henry? Is it going to be Jackson? Or just simply the offensive line getting a push, and it doesn't matter who has the ball. So if it's going to be a blowout in this game, I don't think there's any way the Ravens are getting blown out. I think the Detroit Lions could have some problems here.
Yeah, just to illustrate, I think Lamar has a 24-2 record against the NFC. So he's been just insane against them. And I was reading an article by Rich Rebar, and he was comparing Goff splits in outdoor road games versus his home games, and it's 13.7 DraftKings points scored on those outdoor road games versus 20.1 at home fantasy points. So it's a pretty big split there, and that's going to help us out with process of elimination, maybe when we're building these lineups and considering putting a high price Jared Goff in our lineups this week.
Yeah, so that's where, if we want to get into it, the first script I'd like to build is the Baltimore blowout script. Now, I think we need to diversify because I think this will be popular. We're not the only ones with access to this information. And, I think the way to get contrarian on this would be the Detroit blowout script. But I don't know if I really believe in the Detroit blowout. I've already played the Ravens at -4.5. I think they do get the cover here. But if we're going to build a Baltimore blowout script, I think it's interesting because you can't just jam everyone in there. And I haven't been as high on Zay Flowers as I should have been, but he's been excellent so far this season. So it's really going to be tough to get all three in there. If you're thinking Lamar, Henry, Zay Flowers, who's the odd man out here?
I like Zay Flowers too. They're playing against a man coverage team, and Zay Flowers, first 2 weeks of the season has been a top 6 receiver versus man coverage. So he's kind of started off similar last year, where like the first few games of the season you were kicking yourself for not drafting him in best ball, but then he just became turned back into a pumpkin like these Baltimore receivers typically do. But, he's still running hot. And, maybe we see that continue here versus Detroit, where they know they're going to have to put up some points. So I do like Zay Flowers this week too, Spread.
Yeah, so I think it's tough. I mean, I think we only go with 2 of them. I mean, and do we go the high price captain route here? That's what I was thinking, that we go one of those 3 for our captain.
Yeah, I think we can do that for this first build.
I think we start with Flowers.
All right.
I think Detroit's run defense is better than their pass defense at this point.
Yeah, Detroit's run defense has traditionally been pretty good, and I don't disagree with going the Flowers route at all either, because they're going to want to put up points, and the quickest way to do that is obviously going to be through the air. If they decide to get aggressive in the beginning of this game and try to move the ball as quickly as possible just to potentially take an early lead and put Jared Goff under some pressure, then yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense to go with that passing route as the captain too.
All right, then I think we add Lamar, and we'd probably have Henry be our odd man out on this build. So there's our first 2 right there. Who do we run it back with, and what other lower price Ravens should we be targeting?
So AMON-RA probably has the best matchup against Baltimore. They're weaker in the slot than they are out wide, at least so far this season. But keep in mind, the teams that they've played have been Buffalo, which they got slaughtered by in that fourth quarter through the air, and Buffalo and Cleveland. So they haven't really faced the best wide receiver core yet in the first 2 weeks. So I wouldn't put it past Williams to have a good game in this one either, but AMON-RA, at least on paper, has the best matchup in this game.
All right, so if we start for those 3, then we're at 15 to 5,000 per player. We're gonna have to scroll down a little bit. Once we're getting below this 5K range, who are we looking at? What do you think for the kickers in this matchups, and what do you think for the defenses? Ravens at 4,200 could be interesting, but I'm worried that we're leaving out a better player there, or maybe spending too much money.
I think if we were going for a blowout script on the Ravens side, then I think the Ravens defense would make sense in that situation. So I don't mind doing that.
Okay. The other one that seems mispriced to me, if it's a blowout, is Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
He might get more run in that case. He's only 1,200.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been a stud so far, with just 2 catches, and they've been just these crazy catches that he's made in each of these games. One for a touchdown, and one was close to a touchdown, wasn't it, Spread?
Yeah. So that's our little dumpster dive there. That actually leaves us with 9,800. Mm-hmm. And some interesting possibilities. Because on this one, I know we talked about AMON-RA, but I almost think you pop him out and you go Henry, JMO, and then you actually got all three in there.
Yeah, I like that too. We get the three probably. I guess with Jackson and Henry are probably going to be the highest floors on the slate. I would say between Flowers and AMON-RA for highest floor after those guys, and then everything else is just pretty much crapshoots and upside with some of these guys. I think Laporta has a good matchup in this game as well. Let's see. Andrews has not done anything yet this season, but he's probably due for a decent game. But Detroit's pretty good against tight ends, so I don't know if this is the game for him. Likely in that same situation. Last season, I was targeting Likely against teams that had like injuries in the safeties, and it paid off in the captain spot. 2 Baltimore slates in a row in prime time. But I don't think that they have that situation, and Likely's just coming off of an injury anyways. Keep an eye on Likely when we get closer to Monday to find out what his status is for Monday Night Football. But Likely's gonna potentially be in play for us at 3,400. You see anyone else you like spread? Hopkins has only gotten like 7 routes a game, but he's been putting up
Yeah, I know. That was that's when I knew that the Browns were in trouble, was when Hopkins scored. So I'm actually not high on him at that price.
Yeah, Hopkins almost scored twice.
I like Andrews more at that price.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big Mark Andrews guy, so
right.
I think that says something. Let's try one more Baltimore build, and then I do want to try a Lions blowout because I think it should be in your portfolio.
Yeah,
only because of the uniqueness. I think if it's a Baltimore blowout, I mean, you're going to have to nail everything. I think if it's a Detroit blowout, you get a little more leeway. So, do we want to start with the Henry captain this time?
Yeah, we can do that. Let's.
So we got a Henry captain that starts 15-3.
Henry is surprisingly not the highest price guy on the slate. He usually is that highest price guy pretty much.
I think it's going back to what we said earlier, though. We know that Detroit is, I think, more vulnerable in the air. And I think that Baltimore will be fine at taking advantage of it. They're a balanced offense. They don't need, obviously they want, who doesn't want to run the ball? But I don't think they feel they need to. Let's have some fun on this one and run it back with Gibbs.
I like that. Yep.
Okay. Gibbs. So now we got a rush heavy game. If you throw Lamar in there now, what does it drop you to? Too low. All right.
Just to add on to that, Gibbs, Baltimore has been terrible against the run so far this season. I think they're like bottom 5 versus the run, or in that range.
Let's see. We talked about Andrews earlier. What do you think of the kickers? I definitely like the Baltimore kicker more, and it's cheaper.
Yeah, I think here's the thing with Goff's outdoor record, we know that, right? But Detroit, even with him not playing well with his splits outdoors, they still won all their road games last year. So I think if they're gonna win their road games, it's gonna be because the defense comes alive, and it's gonna be because they're moving the ball, maybe not scoring, but they're gonna be kicking field goals. So I like the Detroit kicker, I think, in this one.
Okay, well, let's switch it there. If you had Andrews and Bates here, now you're at 14.5, which gives you 72. You can go balanced here. You could grab like a Laporta JMO. I think you can even go Laporta Zay. Yeah, you can even grab Laporta Zay there to finish that one off. Or, I think if you're, I don't know, does anyone else stand out to you as a low price fair besides Tesla? I mean, I feel like but I like him more than Raymond and Walker.
Yeah. Walker has had 3 catches in his life, and they've all been touchdowns.
Yeah. Raymond, I guess Brock Wright got a touchdown last week.
Yeah.
So if you put Brock, I don't want Raymond. Let's put Brock Wright in there. And what does
You
that
know,
leave you with? You can still get Lamar. So see,
right.
if you put Brock Wright in there on the Henry, Gibbs, Andrews, Bates, you have your pick of the board.
So
Do you think that
Henry
was
Gibbs.
just what's it called last week though? And do you think you'd be better off with Tesla? I don't know.
I would take my chances with Tesla. I think Brock Wright was like just a fluky play.
Blowout thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But I do think that Tesla is is a guy who's been legit. The only thing is the matchup against Baltimore might be a little bit tougher. But this guy's making these crazy contested catches. He's he's a guy that you're going to want to throw to. Let's see. Oh, what about Keaton Mitchell? Has he been inactive? Yeah, he's been inactive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing anyone too far down the dumpster. We had a good one, Shavers for $200 in the game on Thursday, and he ended up getting a decent amount of run in that one. He was only $200, and he probably scored like 5 or 6 fantasy points in that one. But I don't see Justice Hill would be in consideration for me. I'd take Justice Hill probably over Walker, over Wallace. Those guys. Raymond is the only guy that I think I put above Justice Hill, but I do think that Raymond, his role is going to be taken by Tesla at some point this season. It's just a matter of when, I think.
I think every week it's going to be more and more obvious. I mean,
yeah. So yeah, plenty of options there. If you wanted to swap out Wright, let's say we did want to swap out Wright for Justice Hill, leaves us with still $100 short. We could put AMON-RA in this build, but not Jackson. If we wanted to go a little bit cheaper than him, I'd probably go Raymond before I went with Brock Wright or Tesla and just take the chances there.
I think I like Wright more than Raymond.
Wright more than Raymond? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Three targets in week 1, 0 targets in week 2. Blowout script. I mean, if you're playing a blowout script, I think Brock Wright makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
But if you're playing a tighter game, I think they're going to just be like leaning on Laporta too much. But here, let's try another one here, Spread. I want to do a lineup with like I was talking
I
about.
can hear what you're saying, but I'll be right back.
Yeah. Jameson Williams, like I was saying with Baltimore, they haven't faced a real secondary yet, or like a real wide receiver core yet, and the Lions are going to come in as that wide receiver core. The only thing, like Spread and I were talking about, is the outdoor road splits of Jared Goff are terrible, but we don't necessarily need to put Williams with Goff. And I think that would differentiate our lineups a little bit if we wanted to try that. So maybe we put Williams in the captain. This could be a Baltimore blowout script still, by the way. So we can put him in the captain. If we put Jackson and AMON-RA, or not AMON-RA, Jackson and Flowers and where's Henry? And get Henry in there too, right? So we're left
you're
with,
just going JMO on a blowout script, JMO captain blowout script.
Yeah, JMO captain. I'm envisioning them playing from way behind, and they're just launching it to Williams, right? And if they're doing that, we got the highest floors in there with Jackson and Henry. We're adding Flowers in there. He's just got a good matchup, and the everything aligns for him. If I wanted to go this direction too, I think Goff's going to make mistakes if he's having to throw too much in this environment. Yeah. So I'm going to put the Baltimore defense in there. That's going to leave us with 3,400, and we could put like Tesla in there too, like another guy for him to launch.
And leave
to.
some money on the board to be a little different.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, I think you're different just with the Detroit captain on a Baltimore blowout script.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
I
And
like that.
like Williams is the guy that can get 100 yards off of 2 catches,
Right.
So, yeah, and a touchdown. And that would help him out, but like Goff, like meanwhile wouldn't do much for him necessarily.
Yeah.
Let's see. What other potential game script? What about a low scoring game? Let's say
With
that
two
Detroit
defenses?
defense. Yeah, let's
I'm
say
gonna clear it right now.
if we're doing a low scoring game, I want to have Henry in that captain.
Okay.
Highest floor, Jackson, high floor. We want to get the PPR guys in this one probably. So I think you can put AMON-RA in this one. And then we start looking here at these kickers. I already talked about Bates. Let's get him in there.
So Henry, Jackson, Brown, Bates, St. Brown, Bates, 7,300 each for the last two.
3,600 for each for the last two.
I mean 3,600 each, 7,300
Yeah.
remaining. Excuse me. Yeah.
Now we could put the Ravens defense in this one too. That correlates with Henry. But what do you?
Yeah,
what do you
I think you have to on a low scoring game.
Yeah.
And now we're at 3,100, and you go, but it's the same, So on a lot of these, if you like the way we start, I mean, then like let's say you just love one of these starts better than the rest, then you can just. I think I'm not even considering Walker. I would just go between Hill, Brock Wright, Raymond, and Tesla.
Yeah, that's
to fill in, and that way you get kind of 5 different lineups, and if one of them hits, I mean, first of all, none of those players are really going to be that. Well, Tesla probably will, right? I mean, we're not the only ones who know about him, right?
Right. Yep.
Do you have the ownership projections up?
No, they don't have them up. Really. They don't have them out yet.
If I were to guess, I mean, it's got to be at least 20 or 30%, right?
Yeah, he's got too much hype. Yeah. There's too much hype around him.
And we all love them in best ball too, and it's a lot of the same people playing this game.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. What if we want to go with a fun build? Well, before we do a fun build spread, I do like. Let me check and see my notes on Laporta here, because I think Laporta had a pretty decent matchup. All right, so they're allowing, according to Rich Rebar, Baltimore is allowed 2.38 fantasy points per target to tight ends, which is 29th in the league. So tight ends have done pretty well against Baltimore, and if we're looking at Laporta is pretty cheap, so he's going to give us a lot of room to make some moves here. Let's try Laporta in the captain.
All right, yeah, and then we got 41.9 left.
Let's get Jackson, Henry, and who's the big three? Flowers.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's get Gibbs in this one
instead of Henry.
Instead of Flowers.
More.
Or we could put, like, do you want to put Flowers instead of Henry?
I like Henry more.
Okay.
So in this build.
Which one?
In this build, I like Henry more.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. Let's get a kicker in here. I do think that that Bates is going to be busy in this one.
Okay. And then, so, this is kind of cool because it lands on a player that we haven't talked about yet. We probably should. Why have we not mentioned Rashad Bateman yet? I mean, is it just 4K is too much for a guy who gets 4 targets a game? I mean, you're $1,000 per target. I don't know. What are we? Why have we not talked about Rashad Bateman?
Bateman's another one of these Ravens who just hasn't really done anything yet, but like he's a guy that could pop off any week. And you look at the matchups that he's had against Buffalo and Cleveland. Cleveland's a tough defense, so make sure that it makes sense that he didn't do well against them. The Buffalo game, week 1, shaking off rust. I can tell a story of maybe why he didn't do too much against them. They wanted to kind of focus on Henry because Baltimore had a big lead in that one, And so they were trying to salt it away with Henry. And it wasn't until like the last 5 minutes of that game where Allen scored like 2 rushing touchdowns and like was launching the ball like through like 200 something yards in the fourth quarter. Like, so Bateman wasn't needed for most of that game. So that makes sense. And the Cleveland game was 41-17. So he hasn't been needed. So like that makes a ton of sense why he hasn't been targeted, because they haven't needed to target him.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
So 4K, against Detroit, he's kind of a slot guy, right? Right, Spread with Bateman. I got to see what his
not really. He's kind of more like a fly wide guy.
Gotcha. Okay.
Wide receiver 2 run the fly route.
Okay, that makes sense then. Yeah, but so Bateman, I think he's in play for a lineup like this. We got Jackson in there, so it makes sense to put a receiver with him. You could put Likely
on this one. No,
too.
I still think you should do multiple, and I mean, probably not Justice Hill in this build. Boy, I almost wonder if we switch kickers, and then you can get the if you switch kickers, you get the Ravens defense as well, or you might even be able to go. No, you can't go to Mark Andrews, can you?
I think any lineup that you don't have Henry or Jackson in the captain can be explained by Baltimore's kicker kicking field goals. So the kicker makes sense.
So yeah, if you switch, then you can sneak Ravens defense in there, which I like a lot more.
Yeah.
Or I guess you could screw around and just put Lions defense in there if you like the Lions kicker more too.
Right.
They're not terrible. I don't think they're going to get a lot of sacks, but they do have turnover potential, and especially if it does become a shootout, right, or it gets to be like kind of a wild, out of control game. We might see Jackson throw an interception or a pick six that doesn't even affect him,
Right.
Cuts the lead from 14-7, and then they just take the ball back and just drive right back,
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot of good options with this Laporta captain. It's so funny as we explore these builds, this might be my favorite one.
Yeah, mine too.
Just because for the other ones, I feel like you're almost kind of locked. Well, and obviously we have our certain player takes, right? We've kind of stayed away from Goff so far. Another man we haven't mentioned, David Montgomery.
Yeah.
It seems like we're fully fading him, although he did get a touchdown last week. We haven't even mentioned Montgomery, but it seems like we like our certain guys. In this Laporta captain, I feel like you get like 20 different variations instead of just 5.
Look what we can do if we swap out Gibbs for Montgomery.
Then you just get out, then you just go right back to the top, right?
Yeah, you get Flowers, you got Williams unlocked.
So you can have Jackson, Henry, Flowers, Loop, Montgomery, Laporta. That's actually not bad.
Dude, like Laporta is going to be, if he has a good game in this one, or a decent game, he's our low-owned captain that can unlock, the treasures of fucking showdowns. Sorry about the language.
All right. Well, do you want to build the ultimate contrarian build?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it, Simon. Jared Goff at captain. What do you think the percentage on that will be?
After last week, it might be higher than we would think. I would guess. I'm going to guess like 9 to 12%.
I guess on the blowout script, you can still get like 350, right? If Baltimore puts up 42 or 49 or something.
Yeah.
But then you're going to need so many Baltimore players. Okay. So Goff is captain.
The road splits are going to be a big narrative with Goff, so that'll keep his ownership.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. And I don't think that 4.5 line is right.
Yeah,
I almost think it should be like 5.5 or 6.
I got 5.5. Like on when I looked, I put.
And I'm surprised because I usually consider. I hate to be a snob, but I usually consider my offshore books a little sharper than DraftKings and FanDuel. Just because, you have to understand Bitcoin and, stuff like that to get down there. And a lot of like professional gamblers that have been banned or limited on DraftKings switch back over to Bookmaker because they'll just use the information.
Right.
So I'm surprised that your number is closer to what I make it. So I wonder what I'm missing here. So with that in mind, right, what am I missing here? Let's build a Lions build. I think we start Goff Gibbs.
Goff Gibbs, okay.
That's half our salary though. And that run back, Zay or Lamar?
Let's put Lamar in there just to see where it's going to take us, because we know he's going to have the best floor.
Then I think we go Laporta, and I think on this build we're Elon Musk. We have to have the Tesla. So that leaves us with 6,900. So you don't have to have the Tesla. Oh, you land on Montgomery and Gibbs. That's too crazy for me.
What about this spread? What if we take out Gibbs, we put in Montgomery, and then we put in AMON-RA, could give Goff his second?
Oh, I like that a lot. Yeah. I don't like not having Gibbs in there though. I almost think that in this one we take out Lamar, so we can run Gibbs and AMON-RA. That's our real Detroit blowout build, right?
Gibbs and AMON-RA leaves us with 8,300. We could. Well,
we have to have a Baltimore though at this point.
Yep. Baltimore guys
sucks.
Hopkins in a blowout build might get more run. I know he's only run seven routes in each of these games, but like we were talking about, like they had a monster lead on the Bills in week 1. They didn't need him. Henry was running all over the Bills, and then in week 2 they had that monster lead over Cleveland, but Hopkins still had moments in that game. So, I don't necessarily like hate using Hopkins if you wanted to get rid of Tesla.
Yeah, I don't hate it either. I think I might use the kicker more.
Kicker? Yeah.
In this build. I don't know.
With Bates, you mean, or Loop?
We have to go with Loop, don't we? Because we don't have any Baltimore players.
Yeah, that's true. If we put Loop in there, then we're left with 4,500. So we could get Andrews in there too, or Bateman. So
and take out Tesla.
Yeah. If we took out Tesla, if we put Tesla in there, then we're looking at like 30.
Yeah. 300. I like boy. Yeah, I think I would go Andrews there or Lions defense.
Yep. Both make sense. Yep, for a Detroit blowout build. Jared Goff, complete contrarian.
And I would make one of those and try and have 20 lineups. I just don't think it's very possible.
So
but that's why you make those builds, right? Because you're watching the game, right? And you go, what? I was wrong. And then you look up and you go, hey, I got one lineup contending.
So here's what I would do for a Detroit blowout. I'd get AMON-RA in that captain, because I know he's going to get those PPR points for us. And this isn't like necessarily like if we wanted to do the blowout build. All right, so let's do the blowout build. Let's get Goff in there. Let's get Gibbs in there. I want to have at least Jackson or Henry in there. If Jackson is playing from behind,
it's Jackson, and this build is Jackson because they're down by 14. It's going to be like the Titan days, right?
Yeah.
Remember when just like he's like this awesome running back, but you can't really get him involved.
Right. I'm gonna get Montgomery in there over Gibbs just to give us some salary relief here.
That's fine in a blowout too, right?
Yeah. Henry, like to Spread's point, Henry gets scripted out like when they're playing from too far behind.
Yeah.
If we're doing this, maybe Andrews makes sense in this one, or Bateman makes sense because they would be trying to throw it more.
I think Andrews more. They're flustered. Okay. Lamar goes back to his old favorite, right?
Makes sense. Yep. And then we could put Tesla in this one if we wanted to. You can tell me it's
we can't afford Lion defense.
We just want to get Tesla in these builds.
Yeah.
Like to
Well,
we've been
I
talking
almost
about
want
them
to
all
kind of
best
do a
ball.
different one here though with Laporta.
Mhm.
If we're doing that, how would we do that?
With the Laporta captain, or what are you thinking?
No, because I think we already went over the Laporta captain options well enough.
Yeah.
With the St. Brown captain, how do you get Laporta into this build? Just take Montgomery out altogether? No, there's no way they can abandon the rush that much, right?
So we have to change our thinking a little bit. It's not going to be a blowout. Let's say that that it's closer, a close game. Henry is doing most of the damage on that Baltimore side. We throw in Laporta. That leaves
So we
us with
took Jackson out?
4,200. Yeah, Jackson for Henry.
Okay.
So we got Goff to St.
Yeah,
Brown. We
that
got
saved us
Montgomery.
1,600.
Yeah. It puts us in 3,200 range again.
Who's the fifth here?
I got St. Brown.
Oh, I got to put Montgomery back in. I took him out.
Yeah, Montgomery, Henry.
Okay, so that leaves you at 3,200.
Yep.
Huh. Well, if you play Laporta, I don't like Brock Wright as much. Yeah, you're going to end up on Tesla or Raymond, I guess.
It's going to be a lot of builds are going to lead you to this decision, like where you're paying like 3K or less for that last
For the
guy.
last spot, yeah.
And the only guy
I think that you build your favorite builds and just kind of soak them in that. The only one we don't like is Delaney Walker, right? In between, I don't really like Justice Hill either. I'm going between Brock Wright, Khalif Raymond, and Tesla on most of these.
Right. And if you do this build, any one of these dudes could be the guy that scores the most. So just rotate them out of your last spot if you end up in this situation where you have 3,200 left and you're trying to figure out which one of these scrubbier guys to throw in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Spread. So I think we've got a decent amount built. Do you have any final thoughts on this slate here?
I think this is fun. We had talked about maybe doing the Sunday night game as well. I think you have so many more options here. I think this one's more fun to multi-enter. As we showed here today, some of these good starts, like especially that Laporta captain, if it's a choose your own adventure, I mean, the book is thick. You can get so many ways to go. Where sometimes we've done these shows and, hey, it makes it a little easier, but it almost feels like the prices build themselves. I don't think we had that today. I think this is a great one to multi-enter, and I'm looking forward to this game. Obviously, I think Baltimore's going to blow them out, and I'll be betting it, but I hope it's closer than possible. But, boy, I know the Eagles won the Super Bowl, but it just feels like the rest of the AFC is so much stronger than the rest of the NFC. But this will be a referendum tonight, and things can change quickly in the NFL. After week one, we wrote off Detroit, but if they got a win in Baltimore – which when I'm listening to these betting podcasts, and I actually personally disagree with it, but a lot of sharp guys have Baltimore Ravens power rated number one. So Detroit was to get a win on the road against the number one power rated team. I mean, aren't they back in that vaulting conversation we kind of had them last year? I mean, we kind of took them out just because of two coordinators in the center. Like, you should be able to overcome that, right?
So, Spread, I've made a prediction except for last year, I guess you could say 3 out of the last 4 years are going back to 2020, right? Where I picked a team probably about 3 weeks in to the season. I picked a team to win their division. They ended up winning with long odds, right? I had Cincinnati in 2020. I think I had Jacksonville in 2021. The year after they got that new coach or they got rid of that stupid coach, and then I had
has it been that long since Urban Meyer left?
I think so. I think it was in 2021.
Gosh, time flies.
Yeah, and then I had Houston winning the division the year that they won a couple years ago for the first time. So this year. And you guys can try to do this bet too if you wanna join in on it. Use BetMGM Heater 1500. They'll give you a risk-free first bet up to $1,500. I'm going to go with Green Bay in the Super Bowl versus the Chargers. And I think based off
The
of
Chargers.
yeah, based off of what I've seen so far, I think the Chiefs are dead this year. Like, and I thought they were dead last year, but they kept luck boxing them their way into the wins. I think the regression is turning against them this year. And then to start the season off losing Worthy on top of it, I just think that they're not going to be able to recover this year. I think the Chargers probably going to win that division, and I think that they're going to their coaching staff that they have is just I mean the head coach there, Harbaugh, taking the 49ers from nothing to the Super Bowl, and went, to the NFC Championship a few years in a row or whatever it was in his first 3 years. Like, that dude is capable of motivating a team, and I think we're seeing it happening now that Justin Herbert is healthy this year. And I think that the Chargers have the talent to do it this year. On top of that, with their receiver core being improved, it sucks that they lost Slater, but they still have a really potent offensive line with Alton there, and I just think that the Chargers are looking really good this year. I think it's going to be Chargers Packers, and the Packers just look like they got the best defense in the league, and they have an offense that can get them there. So I don't know. What do you think of that spread?
Two concerns on your picks. To backers, they go as far as Jordan Love can avoid his mistakes. They have everything set up, no backbreaking turnovers, and they get it done. Right now, it's tough to believe in the Eagles. You talked about the Chiefs being too banged up. I feel the Eagles might be the same way. I never want to count out the Chiefs. I'm going to be curious to see if they just throw Worthy and Rice in that lineup. They run off a string of 9-10 games to end the season. They go 9-1. That's going to be a wild card team that nobody's going to want to face. And my other concern for the Chargers is AFC to me's got a little NBA feel to it. I wonder if they need to get knocked down by the Bills or the Ravens. I wonder if that big game experience and the fact that they've been building towards those games for years now, it's going to make it tough for the Chargers to knock off the Ravens or the Bills. Right now, I think it's a good choice between those two. I go back and forth on it all the time. I think the Bills I think the Ravens are the better team. For some reason, I just feel like the Bills are more likely, though. For some reason, they don't step on their own foot as much. And I also wonder if now that Baltimore's kind of getting this history of playoff letdowns, if that starts to play into their psyche. In baseball would happen more, but the whole crowd, something goes wrong and the whole crowd gets, the place has been crazy and the whole crowd gets quiet. Like, not again, But I mean, I like those picks. Obviously, at the odds that you're getting, I mean, it's tough to argue with that Packers pick right now, right?
Right.
I mean, Jordan Love could throw some backbreaking picks, but see, this is why thank you. I think you set me up perfectly to kind of cue back to the game that we talked about. Mm-hmm. This is what makes this game cool, because even though I think Baltimore is going to win, I'm not even going to bet on Baltimore. Actually, we've already placed it. But if Detroit were to win this game, how much more interesting does the NFC get? Right? Because I know that you were going to say, oh, Green Bay beat them head-to-head, but Detroit's going to get a chance to knock them back at home. And we know they're way better at home. If they get this win, I think it kind of makes it more of a wide open race in the NFC right now, where it feels like it's the Packers to lose. And of course, the Eagles can get it together too. I mean, there's no reason to say they can't. I've just seen the Chiefs overcome a little bit more, where the Eagles almost felt like they took a year to recover last time they got knocked in the mouth. So overall, great picks, and that's what makes this sport so fun, right? Because it's going to come down to a toe on the line. All right, like how much different is Miami's season if A-Chain doesn't step out, or the beginning of the season last year with Baltimore and Kansas City? It comes down to something that's going to be really hhard for us to predict. Pretty fun picks, though.
Motivation is a big thing, too. And we saw it like with Miami, just this, like everybody projecting the blowout script with the Bills versus Miami. Miami kept that game close. That was a close game up until the fourth quarter pretty much when Buffalo just pulled away with it. But I never felt like Miami was out of that game like until the close to the fourth quarter, and I was projecting them to do the blowout script in the lineups that I built on the show on the game script for that game. But one of the things I said is like don't when everybody's saying blowout, that's where you got to go the opposite. Like if you want to face off against like 20% of the field versus 80% of the field, when everybody thinks it's a sure thing blowout, those are the best games to go completely opposite of, because those are the games where like you got the team like Miami, they just had their player meeting or players only meeting. There's a lot of talk of McDaniels getting fired for some reason, like and just like
for some reason he's terrible.
Oh man, I like McDaniels, like
I like him as an offensive coordinator. He just needs to get back to where he belongs.
But he got like this is a guy that took like the shitty Miami team and brought him to the playoffs like his first 2 years. The only reason they didn't have more success was just because like freaking Tua can't protect himself. Like when he's sliding, he keeps getting those obviously concussions.
Here's what I don't like about McDaniels. There's too many players that have left the team that are just like, it's a joke down there. They go, the practices are so easy. People are showing up late all the time. That's why I just think let him be an OC. There's two places I want him to go. I want to see him either in Houston, because I think that guy's in way over. That would be a good spot. Yeah. Or Pittsburgh. Let Tomlin actually get a guy next to him that's going to do something innovative. And like, let's get out of 1978. Like, I understand the Steelers won 4 Super Bowls in the 70s, but we need to update our strategies a little bit. I would love to see him as an OC.
If he was in Pittsburgh, what happens. I could see him and Rodgers doing peyote together. And
it's either going to be really good or really bad, but it's going to be really entertaining one way or the other. I don't know if he has
whatever.
And I'm curious, and I brought this up on our show this week, Simon. Did you see Brian Thomas last week? The videos going around of him not trying on like 11 different plays.
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, and so Cohen's another one. Then I'm like, right? I mean, could be a great play caller, but is he gonna? This is his first test, right?
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see Thomas. I mean, obviously we're interested from him as a best ball fantasy first round, 11, 12, 13 guy, right? A lot of teams are hoping for him to be successful, but I think it's also a referendum on Cohen too. If he goes for 11, 172, breaking tackles, strong run blocking, you're like, okay. This guy knows how to light a fire, right? If he does it again, I'm going to have some serious doubts whether or not Cohen can command a locker room.
Do you think that is more of a statement against Cohen, or do you think that's a statement against Trevor Lawrence by Thomas?
Cohen, because I think that I don't think that you do that if Mike Vrabel's your head coach.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, that's just what I think. And he should. Well, I guess that is true. Thomas's numbers did go up when Trevor got hurt last year.
Yep.
But he was given plenty of opportunities to make plays, and he was the one who gave up on the ball. So,
right.
I can see if I can find it. I can send it to you.
Cool. If you're a second year guy like that, like just suck it up and catch the ball,
but here's the thing. Let's just say he like they were saying on the show, they go, Fred, you're getting on Cohen. What are you going to do if Thomas goes for 11 catches, 120 and 2 touchdowns, right?
Right.
And this is going to be a blip. What if he has a great rest of his season? Oh, he had a bad day, right? Oh, he needed a little talking to. Oh, So until it happens more than once, it becomes a huge issue. But this is just one of the things that I'm looking out for this week, and I think is really fantasy relevant. Because if he gets in the doghouse or whatever, obviously a lot of teams are going to be tanked, but a lot of teams that got Hunter 4th, 5th, and 6th rounds are probably going to be pretty excited because I'm sure he'll be happy to soak up some of that target share. And I don't think that offense is dead. I worry about the team. But I don't think the offense is dead. I think they're going to be fantasy relevant all year.
Yeah, I would be very, very upset if he ends up, just going in meltdown mode for the rest of the season, because I was very high on Brian Thomas.
Well, we all were. And you know who's another one that I think is going to cause problems in the locker room, but he's going to be fantasy fine is Malik Neighbors. I mean, he already
Yeah.
looks pretty upset.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as that team continues to get bad, and then you look at all these players that are leaving, right? Like Daniel Jones is doing great, and then
Yeah.
who are the other?
Yeah.
Saquon's doing great, and then one of the corners that left is just doing awesome, right?
Dude,
So
Spread. One of the things I was talking about when I was doing best ball shows with Daniel Jones in regards to Daniel Jones, Stryken played against Daniel Jones for however many seasons that he was the offensive coordinator of the Eagles, right? So he knew Daniel Jones very well. And when they picked Daniel Jones, like when they signed him, it was for a reason. It was because Steichen thought that he could work with them. Like you take a
and
good
Jalen Hurts of
offensive
all
line.
the top 5, top 6 quarterbacks is by far the most limited.
Yeah.
Right, he takes the most. You have to scheme around some of his weaknesses. Right, he's
Yeah.
not sitting back there going through 4 reads and dropping darts like Burrow. Right.
Right.
He's not hitting those throws on the run. Like Herbert, Jackson, Mahomes, Allen. So.
Right.
Yeah, I think we were all high in Daniel Jones. In fact, for best ball, that was my favorite third QB. If we invested any amount of draft capital at all in QB, right, we went for Daniel Jones number 3 because it's just like, if I grab Jaden in the 3rd or 4th round, right, okay, then I get one good backup. It's like I can't spend another one, right, because I already spent a 3rd or 4th round pick, so I'm already worried about whatever room I ignored there, whether it be wide receiver or running back, right, that I normally would have picked there.
Right.
So now I'm thinking, okay, I gotta boost up this wide receiver room, or I gotta boost up this running back room because I picked Jaden or Lamar in those rounds that I would have really got a guy that I would have expected to be in my lineup every time. So Daniel Jones has been a pleasant surprise for me. But I have the best ball receipts to prove it. I mean, it would come up and he was the only starter left, right? It would be like Jones, Shador, Jalen Milroe, right? I mean, these would be your choices, right?
Yeah.
And maybe Milroe ends up taking over. I mean, who knows, right? Darnold looked pretty good last week, but Hey, did anyone drafting Carson Wentz? Wouldn't that be wild if he becomes fantasy relevant?
Man, he will become like look at the Darnold resurgence last year. Like so yeah, Wentz is a guy
And
that
he
I'm
did it
gonna be
with
talking
Mullins.
about.
He did it with that guy Josh Dobbs, right? The
Yep.
NASA astronaut or whatever he
Yep.
was.
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
And none of us. I mean, can you imagine? There's some sicko that's gonna have like 5% Carson Wentz, and he's just gonna be yes.
Yeah, well, Carson Wentz was on an MVP pace with the year that Nick Foles won them the Super Bowl. So, like, I mean, he was legit at one point before he became
CJ
a
Stroud better
punchline.
watch out, man. Just because you have the great rookie year doesn't mean you're guaranteed a long career.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's someone I drafted a lot of that I've been disappointed in.
Yeah. Stroud. I didn't get a bunch of him. I kind of Nico
he
Collins
might be okay. The reason we were drafting him is it's one of the best playoff schedules. All 3 are indoors. I think one of them is the Raiders. One of them might be Jacksonville or something.
Yeah. I also skipped mainly on Daniel Jones too. I wasn't as high on Daniel Jones. I liked his I liked the fact that Steichen had like traded for him or signed him or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I should have been more on it. But spread was all over it, like on those best ball shows that we were doing.
Yeah, he was one of my favorite, just because, and that would usually happen, even because even if I pushed it back, I would go love CJ, and at that point, I kind of like that twosome. So then, it's like you have all those other rookie darlings, right? Like Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel, like we had all those guys that we really love, and I still think Higgins might be all right. Like Tootin would be,
I do too, yeah,
around, and it's like, well, I'm not getting a third quarterback when Tootin's on the board. And Etienne's been great so far, and that's been fun because we were able to get him late in a couple drafts. But I wouldn't be surprised if Tootin was relevant by the end of the year. I mean, like, look at everyone's flipping out about their rookie running backs. Like, what was Bucky Irving at this point of the year last year? Nothing. He didn't really pick over till week 6, week 7.
The ETN and the Williams on the Cowboys, those two players that the entire, like best ball bros community was signing off and writing off and saying, don't draft them. They're washed. Like those are the exact reasons why you want to expand like what content that you listen to.
And I
like,
never really got that anyways, because, and you can go back and watch my shows. I was way higher on ETN
Yep.
than Tootin, because I'm thinking, okay, why are you guys saying that? Like, even if we look at the college tape, like Etienne's college tape was way better than Tootin's.
Yep.
Right. Like, I don't understand where this idea, it's not like Etienne was this, fourth round, Zamir White, I'll go Raiders running backs, Latavius Murray, right? Just type of plotting guy. He's always been, he's drafted in the first round.
Yeah. First round pick. And he was drafted for Trevor Lawrence.
I just never understood why they thought he would go away from him. And my final idea on Etienne was this. Let's just say they love Tootin and they're going to move on from Etienne. Wouldn't they be smart? Well, and this assumes the Jaguars are smart, but let's just have some fun and really step out on a limb here with this hypothetical. If they were smart, wouldn't they just run Etienne into the ground this year? And then you have 4 solid years of Tootin rather than grind Tootin up and not even have him be ready towards the end of his, because Etienne's pretty close to a contract year. I think they could just grind him into the ground and let him go, which is another reason why I think they'll continue to run him.
Yeah. Yeah. Javonte Williams, similar situation. The guy.
I was wrong on that one. I was team Jaden Blue.
Well, Javonte was another year removed from a devastating knee injury. So
I didn't think he wouldn't be good. I just didn't think he would hold up, and we'll still see if he does.
Yeah,
right. Because it could be J.K. Dobbins all over again. But I don't have a lot of him, and I'm regretting it.
Right. I got a lot of him in the beginning, but I lit the mind worm of the stupid the other content I was listening to. But well, maybe I shouldn't be drafting so much Javonte. It happens to me every freaking offseason where I listen to too much content and I get talked off of these plays that I like. And then I look at my exposure at the end of the drafting season, and I'm like, God damn, why didn't I have more of this guy? I love this guy,
Right.
It's just super frustrating if you get talked off of stuff. So it's why I say, like, expand your content that you listen to, because not everybody is like thinking in that same echo chamber.
Yeah, I think that's where, if people made it this far on the show, we kind of provide an edge, because you see how many views we get. You're not watching ESPN Fantasy Plus, right? With 7 million views. So I think, like ETR is funny because they are good and it is good content, but you got to know that everybody's using it, right? I mean, it's almost like when Doyle Brunson put out his poker book, then everybody started playing that way. It's not as effective when nobody knew what he was doing, Right. That's my only problem. So I do listen to the ETR, but it just feels like, they joke about it. They give out a guy and he shoots 5 or 6 up on the ADP.
Yep.
And at that point, I think it loses some of their value, and you're better off trying to find real niche people, just because they're going to open you up to ideas. And you should be listening to the mainstream stuff, just so you know where the majority of drafters are. That's why you're not surprised when, why is McCaffrey going up the board? Oh, okay.
Right.
Well, because
you want to know where
your practice report.
Yeah, it helps you figure out where your pivots are. Like if you hear everybody hammering a guy that you have a bunch of questions about, it's just like,
jump off. But then it also tells me once they give it out, I got like 1 or 2 more days to get them, so I should prioritize them the next couple of days.
Yeah,
because after that, the ADP is going to be so bad, and it'll be like, why am I getting them in the 6th when I got them in the 7th for the whole last month?
Right. Same goes with Showdown, and same goes with this show's been getting good with viewership on GameScript, starting to hit 1,000 views a show. It's been expanding.
Well, that's good. That's a good number.
I mean, definitely appreciate the likes. The likes help out with that. Hit that hype button too. You should see a hype button underneath the video. That helps too with trying to get this show out there. And make sure to subscribe, because I'm going to be unveiling a secret weapon. I've been talking about it. It's going to be a way for you to do your NFL research like a little bit differently. It's going to be more news driven as opposed to like to stat driven or analytics driven. Although like I'm a huge on stats and analytics, but this is to supplement that, and I'm going to be focusing on that while the rest of the field focuses on the other stuff. So that'll help you guys out too. And Spread, where can they find your content this season?
Yeah, I'm still at Spread Astaire on Twitter/X. I'm still doing columns for Odds Trader and Booksmakers Review. Doing the Fan Speak show. That's the NFL betting card every Tuesday. We combined our overreaction show this year, so we're doing them both all at the same time. But we're trying to make it a fun hour. And we're no longer going over every game, so you don't get to hear all three of us say it's a pass. We've just cut that part of the show out. So I think it's been fun this year.
Nice. Good stuff. So definitely check that out over on Fanspeak, and follow Spread over on X. And thanks for watching, guys. And I will see you for the next one. This is Monday, so I'm recording this before I record my Sunday night show. So I guess I'll see you yesterday.